Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Billy Spitfire Unlimited.
And Billy Spitfire, proximity to microphone.
Really? Closer?
No.
Back up. What am I doing?
Yeah, just back up.
It's too loud?
It's real mousy.
Really?
It's real mousy.
Because I was
over-articulating.
Spitfiring.
Yeah,
I was spitting like
You're the
that.
Spitfire bird.
Aeroplane.
All right. Where I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Hang on.
Do we have a...
Hey, everybody. It's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled today
I'm so excited.
to have you on the show. Billy, that's fantastic. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Are you genuinely excited?
It's 2023, man.
Yeah, I'm genuinely excited
The first
too.
show of 2023.
It is. That is true. And we're just getting really, man, we got some great shows lined up, everybody. Let me tell you what.
Something tells me we're approaching a magic number of shows.
Well, a magic number. But you know what? We're also approaching? We're approaching the time that it becomes uncomfortable to not announce our guest. Guest, who are you?
I'm Tim Nowak from Bardic Audio Devices.
Oh, Tim, you've been with us a long time. We sure appreciate you, man.
I have. You guys have an excellent show here. I've been here since the beginning, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
You've hung in there long enough. And aside from that, the reason that we're talking to you, the real reason that we're talking to you is because, when you first started, you were just, like, hey, I'm making a couple pedals. And we're like, wow, that's really cool. And then now you've got like 18 pedals, dude.
Yeah, it's gotten a bit out of hand, maybe.
18 different ones in your lineup? Is that what you're saying? Like 18 different ones that you manufacture?
Yeah.
If that's the number Todd came up with,
that's what I
believe
counted.
it. I haven't
That's
counted.
amazing.
But anyways, we're going to get into all of his stuff. But I just wanted to give a preface for everybody. Tim, where can people go check out the pedals that you're making?
They can find me on Instagram. That's where I do most of the social media stuff. It's just at Bardic Audio Devices. And then my website, bardicaudiodevices.com.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us for the first time, Billy, what do we do on this podcast?
We talk about gear.
Yes. Who do we talk to about that gear?
The people that make
Milled or bake.
the gear.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
And,
I haven't learned that line yet.
And lots of all those things. It's in the line book.
cheat
Look it
sheet.
up in the line book, page 27.
It's and also the movers and shakers.
Yes, all
And
the
gear
people that
all
are
around makers.
I'm like the
making
new
stuff happening.
2023 baby. Happy New Year, baby.
Happy New Year.
I don't know anything yet. Everything's new
Yeah.
and shiny.
You're like Baby New Year. All right, everybody. I love the Rankin and Bass stuff still. But just by the way, I know that we just got past the holidays, but the old Rankin and Bass animations,
Yep.
I swear, they still get me. They get me to the bone, man. I love them. Baby New Year, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeers, The Year Without Santa Claus, all that stuff.
If you could only watch one of
The Year
those.
The Year Without Santa Claus.
Year Without Santa, not Rudolph.
No.
I think
No.
Rudolph is a superior movie.
No, remember I did the whole thing like the
I
Jingle
know,
Jangle?
I know. But Rudolph is, that's a tough one to beat. You got it all.
Yeah.
You got a
But-
Bumble in there, for God's
Yeah.
sakes.
Well, anyways.
But what about Rudolph Shiny New Year?
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that one.
I don't know. That one's that's Cornelius and the whale and everybody and
Yeah.
that's my second. That's number 2 for me.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And number 3, it's the one with
Year Without a Santa
Burgermeister
Claus.
Meisterburger.
Oh,
Santa Claus is coming to
Santa
town.
Claus is
That's
coming
right.
to town. Meisterburger.
Yeah. So anyways, wow. You guys are like,
So I
wow,
can't believe-
stop wasting my time, you morons.
I can't believe Rudolph is not in your top 3.
It's not.
Wow.
It's not. You know why? Because Rudolph's dad was a jerk.
He was.
He was a total jerk.
Well,
What do you mean you got to cover up like you're not proud of your kid? What the heck's wrong with you?
Yeah,
you might
he's
do the
pretty
same
lame.
thing if
No.
your kid had a big shiny
If my
red
kid looked
nose.
like you, I would still be proud of
Hey,
you.
out there in
Really?
the wild,
Yes.
it's
Oh,
survival
that makes
of
me
the
feel good.
fittest, Right.
Anyways, all right. We've digressed long enough. We've got a great show because we're going to talk about all kinds of cool guitar stuff, and we're going to do that in our Rode mics. Thanks, Tony. Thank you to Rode for providing these fantastic pieces of audio equipment, and they're capturing our voices. This is we're approaching our 7th anniversary too in April.
Wow,
that's nuts. Anyways,
wow, I can't believe I've done this for that long.
Yeah. I also wanted so I've been teasing out, a bunch of giveaways and stuff, and I decided that instead of trying to jam them up into the Christmas thing where people weren't really, it's like there's a lot going on and packages flying everywhere, and I'm like, nah, you know what? You know what's better than that? It's getting Christmas after Christmas. So starting this weekend, which would have been the first weekend. So by the time you're hearing this, that weekend has passed, but we will have gotten it. Anyways, they're going to start flying out the door. Pedals and stuff. We've got all kinds of junk. It's really exciting. Anyways, what's going on in our music world this week? Let's find that out, shall we? We're going to start off with Tanya Belansky and then kick it over to Tim Nowak of Bardic Audio Devices.
Well, this week, Todd, I brought in for you guys to take a look at the Les Paul Custom Jr. Piece that I put together. And the reason I brought it in is I had Zach at Brandon wind a wonderful pickup. I just asked him, I gave him some basic parameters. I told him I wanted, basically a hot PAF. And he sent me something. I have to admit, when I first installed it, I metered it out, and it read about 8.87, which is on the hotter side of a PAF. But after I got it installed and set up and everything, I mean, I would, if I was doing a blind ear test, is that what it would be? A blind ear test, I would swear that this pickup was much hotter. And I mean, to me, it almost gets into the territory of like a JB from a Seymour Duncan JB, but it doesn't meter nearly as high. It's got Alnico 5 magnets in it, which helps with the volume. But I mean, it just seems like it's a much louder pickup than it, if you read the resistance off of it. So I don't know what kind of black magic that Zach is doing over there at Brandon Wound, but my God, keep it up, Zach. This is a great pickup.
That's awesome. Excellent. All right, we are going to go now to Tim Nowak, and we're calling. This is the new year. It's the new year of pronouncing his name the right way. We've been doing it wrong.
7 years of doing it wrong.
Tim, we are so sorry, but we're going to make amends. The whole episode, we promise to call you Tim Nowak. Okay?
I can't wait.
I know. I can hear the anticipation in your voice.
Well, I just finished a project I've been working on for a few months now. I started a new guitar kit. I got a Tele thin line style kit from Fretwire.
Oh.
Great place to buy really solid kits for pretty cheap. But I just finished that up. Painted it.
A thin line is not exactly used so much in the world of heaviness.
No, I got this so I could play some country.
Okay.
Twang.
Yeah.
And I say that because, Tim, you make a lot of pedals that are sort of aimed at the heavier side of things.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But heavy pedals can make almost any guitar heavy, I think.
Yeah, okay. That sounds about right. Please continue. I am sorry for interrupting.
So it's taken a while just because of all the stuff I've had going on, moving between Chicago, Michigan, back to Chicago now. But it's finally done. I painted a yellow on top and have a nice dark grain back. Looks like a really classy instrument.
A dark grain back?
A wood grain back.
Oh, that's cool. So you just painted the top kind of like a Monson.
Yeah,
Bowie's-
exactly.
Bowie's-
And it has a bound body, so it splits that up perfectly.
That's cool. I think that look is
sounds cool.
A nice look.
Yeah.
Rick Monson.
Yeah.
Mick Ronson, Bowie's guitarist.
Well, his was just.
I said Rick Monson.
I was going to say what? What?
Mick Ronson. I just got to,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mick Ronson had the.
Rick Munson.
Well, no, but his was a Les Paul custom that he sanded off the finish on the top, so it showed the maple.
Was it finished on the back?
It was black on the back, in the back
That's
of the
right.
neck and everything.
Boy, I really messed that up, didn't I?
Yeah, you're an idiot.
That's gonna be.
That's gonna be a tough edit.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
How much time you got tonight?
There's no having to edit.
free all night.
Hey, you want to tell us about your guitar again? Don't tell anybody, okay?
You're
Don't-
Mick.
don't-
You're Rick Monson.
Yeah, hey
guitar.
Rick. Hey Rick Monson.
My lips are sealed.
All right, well, I'm
Yes,
gonna clap.
because God knows Todd cannot look like an idiot.
Well, I can look like an idiot, but there's a certain if I'm just leaving that there for a stretch, that's a lot of idiot to cover up.
What you didn't hear or see, Tim, was the look on me and Tony's face when Todd said that. We're just kind of like,
What is he talking about?
Yeah, but you guys
yeah,
can
sure.
you guys
Yeah.
can say no, you got it wrong.
like,
Tell me.
You said Monson.
I had
Monson.
no idea who you're talking about.
Monson. Yeah, the Monson.
I thought you were talking about it like some custom finish.
I mean, it was
like,
really close.
I thought-
like
I
a
thought
Green
the same
Mountain,
thing.
or
Rick
something.
Monson.
I was like,
Okay.
Billy, how about yourself? What's going on in the
wasn't
music
going
world this week?
well, it's a typical week. I walked into Music Go Round, looking for a delay pedal, and walked out with another bass.
What?
It's a 1986 Fender P bass,
Hey, right on.
made in Japan. It's got like a 3-piece, 3-color sunburst
Nice.
finish, and just basic, simple. It's got the
That's a
rosewood
black guard or
fingerboard.
white guard?
It's got a white guard.
Okay.
Yep. And just a 1 P bass pickup, and it just sounds like a great P bass.
Nice.
It's just nice and full. And the reason I bought it was that, as you know, I had back surgery last year,
Yes.
and I'm lightening everything up.
Yeah.
And this bass was nice and light. In fact, I think the tuner is way more than the rest of the bass.
No kidding.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think the Japanese stuff, they were using a lot of basswood. I think basswood,
Okay.
which is pretty light by comparison to,
Gotcha.
like swamp ash, of course, is
Yeah.
heavier.
Or mahogany.
Well, mahogany can be pretty light.
Yeah.
But it
Not
also,
the mahogany I have.
well, that's because it was. I think you have African mahogany,
Swamp
which is
African mahogany.
yours is hefty.
Gee whiz. So you got a good deal on that?
Yeah. So I've been
Did
just
you
working on my Rolling
trade
Stones
anything?
tunes. No. I paid a lot of cash for it, but I mean, when you have
good
one
stick.
that's in hand and the neck was perfectly straight
Yeah.
and it was lightweight, and you can't verify those things when you buy something online.
right.
Yeah. And that's a good
So
color scheme too. I like
bass
that
in
one.
hand is worth
The black, red, and
2
yellow,
on
right?
the web.
That's black, red, and
about that?
yellow.
Yeah. I mean, it overall it still looks kind of tobacco-y, but it's
Yeah.
it's faintly. There's a little bit of redishness
Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds cool.
Yeah.
I have a bass related one too.
How about you, Todd?
Uh-oh.
Well, so a little while ago, I mentioned I got that Jack Cassidy bass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy playing it, and I like looking at it, maybe even more.
Now, is that a
It
short
is
scale bass? I can't remember.
No, that
It's-
is
it's
a long
scale.
bass. That's neck for days. But the problem is when I got it, nothing had ever been done to it at all. I mean, it was literally, there wasn't a fingerprint on the thing. And the action was quite high. I think that was the first thing you mentioned, Billy, and that was the first thing that I mentioned too. when I saw it, I was like, whoa, this action's super duper high. And it's got the 3-point bridge, which I'm not super familiar with. So I went in, I was just hanging out with Chase last weekend and brought the bass in and showed it to him. He's like, oh man, this action's so high. I said, yes, I know. I'm going to take care of that. And so what was cool is we went through, started, lowering it. And then I was like, hey, this is weird. Now the math wasn't working. What we deduced. And it was cool because he said, I'm going to show you how to do this the way that I do it. It's like, okay, cool. We've talked about setups and stuff many, many times on the show. It's another thing, and I wasn't as familiar with bass and clearances and stuff like that, and so I was really appreciative. We went through the whole the height of the nut and everything, and sure enough, the nut slots were too shallow, so we had to drop those down a little bit. As soon as we did that, was able to make sure everything was all, the clearances on that are so, it's like butter now. I couldn't believe how low we were able to get the strings without rattling comparatively to what it was before. It was almost like a pinky width at 12. It was really high.
Yeah.
So that was it was cool because I was like, oh, I got to help do this myself. And, I know that stuff isn't necessarily rocket science, but also if you don't have the correct tools
are everything.
He's got proper nut files and like the the gauges and all that business, and he takes the time to do it really really right.
How did you deal with the with that stop piece back there, that 3-piece bridge?
Dropped
did you
the
do anything?
front post all the way down first.
Yep.
And then kind of tried to seat the back. And then at that point, that's where we're like, there wasn't anything wrong with the brake, the neck brake. So it was just like, well, let's just keep that down and then sort everything else out properly.
Yeah. Well, one thing with those bridges is with that the brake on the very end of the string where the
silk.
Yeah.
The
Where it's
top.
wrapped, right? Sometimes the wrap of the string can go up beyond the break point of the saddle. So there's a device you can add to the back of that. It's sort of like a bar that just backs the ends of the strings back far enough so that you avoid that wrapped
cool.
part of
I didn't even bother.
that extra
I
wrap.
didn't look at it. Either we didn't look at it because it wasn't a problem, or we just didn't look at it.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's not a problem, but sometimes it is because it's just, it depends on what kind of strings you use.
Yeah.
And
I gotcha.
yeah.
No, I'll check that
So
out.
just keep that in mind. If you find that, man, I tuned this all up, it's like I've intonated it on the open string, I intonated it at the 12th fret, and sometimes when I play this note, it sounds weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because of that break, just, that
Yep.
wherever it's vibrating.
Yeah.
And if you ever wanted to upgrade that, Hip Shot makes a really nice replacement for those old 3-point Gibson bridges.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. See, I don't know a ton about all the extra bass gear. But I do really like, just kind of, for whatever reason, bass seems to be a little bit more, I can zone out a little bit more and play along with songs that I know rather than having to do all the Wheedly bits and all the chord changes and everything. I can just kind of drop into the groove, and I like doing that.
Nice.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Hey, Billy, you know what's good for your new year?
Organization for
Dude,
the new
that's
year.
exactly right. We both spent a bunch of time organizing our stuff. You have downtime.
Yeah.
And when you kind of say like, all right, you've been gigging and your bags are a mess and all your gear's wackadoodle, you kind of like time to hone it in.
I picked up my phone, which I got a new phone. Okay. But I picked it up. I found the Tour Gear Design website, and I ordered a whole set of patch cables for my pedal board. That's what I did.
That's awesome.
That's what I did for Christmas.
Did you use?
Yeah.
You used our code, right?
And I used the code.
There you go.
You just type in the guitar knobs where it says, it asks you for the code.
Yeah.
You don't have to type in a number or anything magic words. You just say the guitar knobs.
Yeah. And you get to 10%
Yeah,
off.
10%
That's cool. So
discount,
you got a whole bunch of different lengths and all kinds of that business.
I got it. Well, I got them all 9-inch.
What?
Thinking that they were really long, but that's I could have ordered some longer ones.
How long is your board?
It's a little tiny board.
Well,
It's not-
Sometimes when you have pedals on the top and pedals on the bottom, and you
Oh,
go
yeah,
up
'cause
and
you're going to
down,
choose- yeah. Okay.
And I have a lot of vintage pedals too.
Yeah.
That have like,
Sure.
the in and out is swapped on the top, and
But that
you
just
gotta
points
repeat
out
yourself.
the why those things are so great.
Yeah, because they're-
if you want
yeah.
if you want a foot long one, you can get a foot long one. If you want a 3-inch one, you can get a 3-inch.
Yeah.
It's great. Go to tourgeardesigns.com and check out all the sizes and all the shapes and everything and all the colors, which only comes in black.
Hey, Todd,
Yes, Tony.
for a better new year,
Yes.
buy some tour gear.
He's been sitting there the whole time waiting for us to stop so he could throw that in there. But he's right. He is right. Anyways, thank you so much to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor.
Let me get some of this.
I'm rolling with that one.
Wait a minute.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Tim Nowak of Bardic Audio Devices. What is your brand new 4 on the Floor?
So last time I did a board based on bass. Now I'm going to do guitar.
Nice.
Yeah.
So my first one is the Mutron Phasor.
Ooh.
It's it seems to be one of the lesser known ones out there. It's just the 2-knob version with the power switch on top. Input and output positions are switched on the back, just like Billy was saying earlier in that wonderful ad. What I really like about it is
Thank you.
how,
I'm glad
how
you
slow
appreciated that.
the phase goes. With Phaser, I really like to turn it down all the way. Well, turn the rate all the way down and turn the depth all the way up.
I'm like, that's a weird way to use a phaser pedal. I love this phaser. I turn it all the way down. It's great.
It's great because I know it's there. But I love hearing it go in and out, just swoosh in between, from like chorus to verse, and it's just a really magical sound. I think.
I think you're right. What about number 2?
Number 2 is the Alexander Pedals Syntax Error 2.
Interesting.
I just got this one over the Halloween weekend because they came out with a special artwork variant that has the Castlevania NES style artwork on it. So I couldn't resist grabbing it, and also turns out to be a great pedal. The artwork really matches what this thing does. It's a great 8-bit kind of machine. Your guitar sounds like it's been through retro gaming history and back, and it's beautiful. I don't know how to use it completely yet, but one mode I've really enjoyed with it is the air setting. That's like a broken lo-fi reverb delay where the repeats or the air has a very broken up, grainy kind of sound, and
Which sounds exactly like an old arcade audio. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I haven't found that anywhere, and I love playing some old 8-bit tunes, so it's just a must-have for me.
I like it.
That's very cool.
You pair that with a B-bender, man, you got yourself a winner. Anyways, how about number 3?
Number 3, I'm not sure if this has been on here yet or not, but it's the Electronic Audio Experiments Halberd.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
The V2 specifically is what I have.
Okay.
But this could be on my guitar or baseboard. It just provides a great medium to high gain overdrive. And I think what what John did with the V2s substituting for that germanium transistor, it really keeps all the tone the V1 had in all its glory. And mine is a little bit sentimental. I got it as a secret Satan pedal from a builder group I'm in, and Elod from Gear Ant painted it in a special metallic in a sparkle purple color.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, it's a beauty, and every time I see it, I think about those two amazing builders, and I could never get rid of it. And luckily, it sounds amazing.
That's killer. Yeah, that's a great sounding pedal. It packs a lot of muscle that doesn't over muscle itself. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but you can really dial in nuances while having a lot of muscle. And I think a lot of pedals suffer from just being too much muscle and not enough finesse.
Yeah, I think that depth control on it helps a lot, varying the low frequency pre-drive. I think that's one of the best controls in that thing.
I agree. I have the V1, and that was, I remember first time I played it, I was like, holy macaroni. Woof.
Now, is the rule that if we mention electronic audio experiments, or does it have to be John's name that we have to drink?
John who?
Schneider.
He was trying to get him to say it. Thanks, Tony. Good one, Tony. You ruined it. Now we can't do it. We had the opportunity. It slipped away.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I ruin everything.
What's number 4?
Number 4 is the Earthquaker Devices Hizumitis Fuzz Sustainer pedal. Not sure if I said that right.
Probably.
But I'm sure most people know what I'm talking about. It's Earthquaker's collaboration between Wata of Boris. It's based off of her own elk sustainer pedal, which, if anyone doesn't know, is the elk was like a cheap kind of ripoff of the Big Muff made in Japan, and the parts inside of it had a really wide tolerance, so it was really the case that from one unit to the next, they sounded completely different. So they had to get her actual unit and look inside of it and measure the components in order to get what her sound was. And I think they really nailed it. It's just a powerhouse of a pedal. If you ever just want to wake up the neighbors, that's the tool you got to use.
Yeah. Well, now you're in a new town, so you should establish yourself.
That's right.
I do. I need to put the cab out in the yard.
Yeah.
Plug it in.
Wake up, Niles, Illinois!
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah, there's no chickens out here, so I gotta wake up everyone.
Well, that's cool, man. I appreciate that you mixed it up a little bit and went El Guitarro on that one. That's
nice.
Cool.
Yeah,
Very
for
fun.
sure.
Those are some fun pedals.
Speaking of fun pedals, I just was sitting on the Bardic Audio Devices homepage, and I just noticed something, and it kind of freaked me out. And I was like, "What? Did I just see that?" The HM Demon was looking at me, and then and then eyes blinked at me. They lit up red, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool!" Yeah, but see, I've been. For whatever reason, someone was mentioning something, or we must have been talking about haunted things or whatever. And now I'm on Instagram. I'm getting all kinds of these two people went into this home, and the next thing they knew, it was the worst night of their life. I get all kinds of stuff like that thrown at me. So now every time I think I'm seeing something, I see something, and I don't see it anymore. I'm like, "Roar." So,
Rory Racky.
All right, let's talk about the things that you make, because Tim, you have. By the way, you know what? While I was going through Michigan, I forgot to mention this to you. I was driving through Michigan on the way to go see Echo and the Bunnymen in Detroit, and I was right next to some kind of SUV, and there was a big giant Bardic sticker on the I think the rear 3/4 panel. So if you know that person, it was a girl woman.
Woman? What's a woman?
Well, I couldn't really tell. I wasn't like an old mom or something. It was, a young lady.
It could have been a young man with long hair.
Creatures.
No, it was definitely a young lady. Anyways, I can tell the difference, and it was one of those. So, anyways, I was like, wait, I know that. And that's not,
Well,
that's
cool.
kind of
I
fun.
didn't know anyone had it on their car except for me.
Yeah. Well, you might check outside and see if it's still there. Anyhow, so I kind of prefaced this earlier on. It's like you were one of our earliest supporters, and we thank you so very much for that. And I remember when you mentioned that you're like, hey, I'm doing a pedal or two here, and I was like, that's really cool, man. And then you sent us some out, and I was like, wow, thank you. And they were all specifically
Yes, for each of us.
for each of me and Tony and Jared, and you kind of, they were stylized to fit us accurately or appropriately, and I thought that was really awesome. And you're like, yeah, I'm coming out with a couple. And then all of a sudden you hit like super beast mode. And like, when it was like, I'm like, holy crap, Tim's going crazy. He's got a pedal every week, it seems like. And now I think, as we mentioned, you are around 18, I believe 18 pedals, 18 different models, something like that.
Yeah, I'll have to take your word for that.
You went on a rampage, man. So let's see.
You know what?
You got the Thunderclap, the Shalob's Lair, the Druid Dual Phaser, the Fuzz Ration, not really sure. The BLM pedals, the Dungeon Master bass preamp, which has so many controls on it. It's very, very cool.
And sliders.
The Armistice, the Bad Sound. Give it up to Terry Hall, R.I.P. And Fighter Overdrive, which I actually really love the aesthetic of that one quite a bit. The Ranger EQ and Cab Sim, the Ashes pedal, the Monk compressor, the Bard O, which looks super evil, the Advantage Dirty Boost, and the Arcane Distorter, the HM Demon, and the Thing. That's a lot of pedals for
That's
one
a
guy
lot
to
of pedals.
bust out, and
That's a lot of
and they
pedals.
all are styled very, very well. You didn't just put a bunch of circuit boards in kind of like the same looking thing or something like that. Like each one of these things has its totally own personality. So I want to get into where you hit that sort of like mega throttle and started busting these out on top of, and I know that you were doing things for other people too, right?
Yeah. I do a lot of PCB design for other builders, and I also do a lot of custom work for individual customers. And
you have a job.
Yeah, and I'm designing PCBs there too.
Crazy. Man, you're a machine. So let's start back maybe kind of where we were, where you're just kind of, you had maybe about four pedals at that point. And you had the Thunderclap, and I know that you had the, I want to say you had just come out with the Dungeon Master. And I was like, holy mackerel. At what point did you, after building a couple of these, did you like just really start to take off?
Oh, I don't know if I can pinpoint that, but I think in this past year, it's been the end of COVID now for a year and a half, I think. We keep on saying it's the end, but I've just been stuck, and what better way to use my time, I thought, as to design pedals. So that's what I was doing, and started out slow at first. I had those first couple pedals, and then you just get deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole of circuit design and seeing what the possibilities are. and new chips come out where that expand your possibilities, and then your brain just lights on fire. And before you know it, I have a backlog of schematics in a folder on my computer, and I'm just sitting there. And a lot of them, I just want to make one or two of just to figure out what the sound is. And I knew I can't do that. It was just too much. But then I decided at the new year of last year, a year from now, that I was going to design or release at least one pedal a month. So,
which is insane, because let's talk about one pedal a month. It would be really easy to say, hey, I have an idea, one idea a month. But that pedal a month is also your PCB design, getting all the parts, getting all the enclosures, doing the design, getting all the packaging and stuff, testing, etc., etc. Like, that's a crap ton of work.
Oh yeah. And
I don't know if you knew that, but aren't you glad I'm here to remind you?
Yeah, I was lucky at the time. I was only finishing up my last semester of college, so. But I decided I needed to take a different approach, so I started designing a pedal for each class in Dungeons and Dragons. So that's what all those like monk, ranger, fighter are. They're all kind of the same style, but with their own little pieces of artwork in them that kind of define what they are. And I tried to match up effects and features that kind of fit them. And it's been a really fun design exercise.
So you're able to you got pretty niche-y going on. Has anybody got a niche joke? No, okay. You got bass players and D&D players.
I got an itchy knee.
You got an itchy knee?
Yeah, it's that time of year. It's dry
itchy
around
knee,
these parts.
Okay.
I drink, therefore I am.
Okay. All right. Well, I blew that one. How has the response? What was the response to your D&D stuff?
Well, once you start making D&D pedals, I found that you really get put into this subgroup of pedal culture with a lot of Doom folks who are really into D&D. But if it's not a super doomy pedal, then most people aren't particularly into it, except for the real nerds, I like to call them. But
yeah,
well, making so much or making so many different things, you kind of have to do the trade-off of selling fewer of each of them instead of a lot of one.
Yeah, I get that. But you really are rolling the dice if you're building D&D pedals. Yeah. I got a snicker. That's cool. Now, originally you kind of were, I don't want to say you were not fully out there with your graphics, but at some point I was like, whoa, you went from like slapping your logo on there to like full blown graphics. How did that come about?
Yeah. So at a certain point, I decided that I want to get a little bit bigger with this Bardic stuff. And the look is as important as what's inside. I had what's inside down for the most part, but I do not have the art or graphics skill to make a beautiful looking pedal, at least not then. So I started to find artists to work with that help me design the graphics on the pedal. One of my main artists who did the HM Demon, the Thunderclap, and the new ADB and Bardo pedals is Dale Atkinson. He's he comes from, I think, a similar world as you, Todd, and kind of branding for real companies, not people like me.
You're a real company, man. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like
Yeah, but
Fortune 500 is a little different than your,
Yeah.
small biz. I got you.
but he's been a great person to work with, and I think his artwork just speaks for itself. I have a pedal or a circuit, and I describe it to him and a little bit of what I want the art to look like, and he just knows what to do. It's just amazing.
That's cool, man. These things, it really elevates your efforts, and that was one of the thing I was really happy to see, because obviously you have a lot of ideas and you're talented in your PCB, and your early pedals were sorting to get into at what version of my logo can I use on this pedal, and to see you just like explode. I think was the Dungeon Master might have been the first one that I maybe really saw. You go like, wow, you went for it and you totally nailed it.
Yeah, and that one was I actually did the art on that one myself.
No kidding.
So
What do you, man? You got skills to pay the bills. What's wrong with you? Oh, that's really good looking.
Thanks. Yeah, I think some of the stuff you can tell who did what, but I've started to become a bit of a intermediate user of Adobe Illustrator.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
That's super cool, man.
It's just one of those things you don't think about when you want to start a company. Like, your look is a big part of it, and I'm just a tech guy at heart. I can design it for you, but I don't know how to sell it.
Well, I think you're probably doing a much better job of that now. Not to say that you were doing a bad job before, but with the experience and the breadth of pedals and the elevating your graphics game, you probably have to work hard to sell them less, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, definitely pays off having some nice looking pedals.
So the Dungeon Master bass preamp, I just want to mention this real quick because I want to hear what the story is behind this. At what point did you say, you know what I need to do? I've been making these boost pedals, and these have been great. What I need is a 4-foot switch, 12 knob, 6 slider pedal. What the heck?
Yeah, I know. Well, I've always liked the idea of not needing a pedal board for certain things. And with the Dungeon Master, I figured out how to make the pedal board. Because that's really what it is. If you have that, you're on bass, then you really don't need much more. The preamps were chosen off my favorite bass amps I've used. The PV channel, that was my first bass, real big boy bass amp.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the tone really holds up solid. And then the Sun Beta bass is just a really, really crunchy, Velcro-y distortion. There's nothing else that you can get that sound with. And I paired them up in hopefully a user-friendly manner using some ABY switching, and then top it all off, a little bit of graphic EQ with some fun sliders that light up.
Yeah, man. Like, it's a really smart pedal. Aside from it just being sort of like, wow, there's a lot going on here. The idea of having 2 preamps to be able to do A or B or A plus B with a foot switch built in, that's very commendable. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I think I've done enough custom work at this point that I know that if I didn't do that, people would be asking me to do that.
Yeah.
And I thought I might as well just do it from the beginning.
So that must have felt like a pretty huge accomplishment, I imagine.
Yeah, the circuitry to make that possible and to make it as quiet as possible was really difficult to achieve. But I'm very proud of how it turned out. Probably one of the pedals I'm most proud of making.
Are you still making those?
I am. They're on a hiatus right now as I redesign things a bit just to make them easier to build for me. It's a lot of work putting 12 knobs on a pedal.
You think?
Yeah.
Wow. Was the sliders, I mean, sliders not typically something that you see. Whenever you do see sliders on a pedal, you're like, whoa, that's cool. And then you're like, that must have been a real fun thing to try to accomplish.
Yeah, sliders look cool. And you only really see them with the graphic EQ usually. And that's what I did. Just because I think it looked really nice. The front face was inspired by my PV bass amp. That amp also has 2 channels stacked one above the other, and then to the right it has the graphic EQ. So that's exactly what I did, and I think with that familiar look of the front face of an amp makes it look a lot more user friendly.
Yeah, I think it's pretty genius, and it looks brilliant. So, if you're a bass player out there, this is kind of a must-have bass pedal, so you might want to check that out. Even though it says sold out,
they're coming.
They're coming. So, now, what is your latest offering that you've conjured up here?
Well, my latest creation is a collaboration I did between Bardic and Dirty Haggard Audio. It's the thing, the bright green pedal with the spooky acidy spider on the front of it. It's a fuzz phaser combo. So the fuzz was mainly Nick's doing, and then the phaser was from my experimentation making the Druid dual phaser. So it's pretty similar. Has 2 different phasers. One's a 2-stage, one's a 4-stage. And then what makes this one different is you also have the dry control.
Ooh.
So you can turn that all the way down.
Dry control.
You can turn that all the way down, and it turns your phaser into vibrato. So you kind of unlock just another set of effects right there. And the thing that I think makes this thing stand out is the 3 toggle switches for each of the signal paths for the dry, phaser 1, and phaser 2. So
I also love toggle switches.
Yeah. Switches are fun to switch.
They are.
And what those
especially
do,
micro toggles, like for whatever reason, the little tiny micro toggles. Oh man, I just want a pedal full of those.
But the switches control where everything's blended together if it's blended pre or post fuzz. So you could theoretically have both of your phaser signals going through the fuzz, but your dry signal completely bypassing it.
Huh.
Or any combination of that. So you have some weird kind of almost like playing around with the switchboard.
Now, is this a bass pedal too?
It's an everything pedal.
It's an everything pedal. Are you kind of? I know that you have bass pedals and guitar pedals. Do you think that you're doing more bass over guitar, or are you starting to do more everythings?
I think I'm doing more. I've been doing more guitar stuff recently, or guitar focused. I have a hard time deviating from making it usable on bass, since that's my main instrument.
Uh-huh.
But I think some things it's a fun challenge to design a purpose-built for guitar because they're two different instruments. They require two different things, and sometimes you can't blend those together.
I hear you, man. I feel that to my bones, man. I'm telling you. For whatever reason, I really, really love the look of the Fighter overdrive. I don't know what it is about it, but I really love that. Like that, when I see that, that kind of feels like my band a little bit. I see a little bit of my band in there. What's that based on? Is it based on anything?
Yeah, so the Fighter's an overdrive. It's your basic, I guess, tube screamer style would be the best way to put it. But it has a 2-band EQ for bass and treble, and those are active, so you can boost and cut. And then different clipping settings. So there's silicon, combination of silicon and LED, and then completely open op-amp clipping. So I really tried to make the most versatile overdrive you can with a limited number of controls, so it doesn't end up like the Dungeon Master.
Well, I hear that, man. That's cool. I like the fact that you just have an overdrive. You got a lot of insane pedals that do a lot of insane things, and we could do several episodes going through every one of these. So we aren't going to do that. But
you know what my favorite
range.
is?
What is your favorite?
My favorite is the Punk Bard.
The Punk Bard.
It's one knob.
The rock reverb. The rock reverb style one knob overdrive.
Where's that?
I don't think I have that up on the website right now, just because they're on pause.
I have it. I have it on my website.
Oh, there it is. That's really weird.
There it is.
Yeah, because if you
there it is.
If you go to products, okay. If you just do products, okay. Word to the wise, everybody. If you hit products, that one doesn't show up. If you hit pedals, this does show up. Sorry, Billy, you had us all, and that has the Warlock distortion and the Boot Gazer and also the Beast. Well, there's even more pedals. You're at 23 now, 24. Holy mackerel, Andy! I sound like my grandma. Holy mackerel, Andy! The Punk Bard, very cool.
See, I'm all about one knob. I like that. I know this is the guitar knobs, but I like the guitar knob.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Tim, you mentioned you're shooting to do a pedal a month in 2023. Can you give us just kind of a quick idea of some of the pedals that you're thinking of releasing this year?
Yeah. The next thing I have is an amp sim pedal. Kind of trying to pull out all the stops I can to make that as realistic as possible.
Wow.
I can't say which amp or style it's based on yet. Still figuring that out.
You can't or you won't?
It's I can't.
Okay. Just checking.
Those pesky trademarks.
Yeah. Do you have some cool graphics planned for that?
Yeah, I have some more simple, subdued ones, but classy. Okay. And if the circuit works out, these are my test graphics. Then I might hit up Dale and see what he can do.
There you go. Make it look banging. Too cool, man. Well, Tim, you've grown hugely since our last discussion. That's a lot of new things that you're doing, which is really fun and everything. But I hopefully this doesn't put you in a weird position. But what are you most proud of in this huge growth spurt?
I think one of the things that I've started doing recently is my new switching in pedals. I think that's the thing or the improvement I'm most proud of. It definitely the biggest upgrade in most of my pedals right now is I'm using a buffered bypass in order to keep switching completely silent. Like you really can't hear anything.
I like that. I like that from the people up top. Legitimately, like the worst thing is when you're playing and you're like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah,
No,
man.
no to that.
That's how you know it's working.
And is that something that you like work to develop or that you're just employing?
Yeah. Yeah. So when you bring up buffered bypass, not as much anymore, but it used to be not so much of a nice thing to have in your pedal. But with improved technology or improved knowledge, you can make buffers that you can't hear the difference and really improve the quality of your guitar signal. Because even when the pedal's off, you're helping push your signal through those cables to your amp.
Gotcha. So that's one of those things. Can we just hang out here just for a little bit, because I think for new people who are getting into pedals, and even just people that are very have a lot, the whole buffer versus bypass thing is always in conversation. There's always a new video out about that stuff. Tony's shaking his head. No, there's not. I watch the videos, Tony. You don't watch the videos. So the importance of having a buffered bypass, is there a reason that hasn't really been there to the degree that you think it should have been?
Well, in order to do it, you are adding a good amount of parts to each pedal, and that also increases prices a bit too, especially with some of the higher end chips you can use for it to really have a high quality signal go in and out when bypassed. And I mean, I think a lot of that black magic around it, or whatever the opposite of magic is, people are afraid of it. Because I mean, you don't want to have a pedal on your board but off that you're playing into your amp and something just doesn't sound right, and you have a whole board in front of you. And with buffered bypass, and say they're in all of your pedals, you don't know where to start. You don't know which one might be causing an issue.
Okay. So this is going to significantly help people who are buying your pedals moving forward.
Yeah, and if you are, especially in a recording situation or in a live situation, you don't want a loud pop coming through. That's never fun.
No, it
definitely. I think the benefits are definitely there, and so I try to keep it to the higher end pedals right now, or the more studio focused ones. But I think I'm going to try to expand it more now.
I like that. I like that you're doing that for everybody. All right. Now, Tim, are you going to be, when you're working with like all these other people, is there anything that you're working on that you can talk about that you're working with other people?
Like the other companies I'm designing the PCBs for?
Yeah. And if you can't, that's okay. I don't want to put you in a corner.
Oh no, it's okay. One company I've worked with a lot is a fuzz imp. I think he's really exploding right now too. Mm-hmm. And all of his pedals now have PCBs I've designed in them, and I think he's started to announce his new high gain metal pedal, which is if you're familiar with his line, is his Shroot pedal,
Yes.
but with a expanded EQ and slightly altered distortion. And we're also trying to do something similar with his OB pedal, which is like a CMOS overdrive. But I think he has some really great ideas, and I'm really happy to help him get it out there.
Fantastic, man. Well, Tim, we're excited about the growth of your company and all the pedals that you're producing and all the wonderful things that we get to have on our boards and play with and all that stuff. And we appreciate you taking your time and hanging out with us and talking about all those new things.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to talk to you guys.
Well, you can talk to us anytime, Tim. We're right now. It's just a phone call away.
That's right, 1-900.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to take a diversion real quick. We're going to hop in the El Camino. And you know what? Now it's time for...
Would you rather?
Oh, I get the duo deal today. That's great. Yeah. That's right. We're gonna hop in the old El Camino. Jared is hanging out in Nashville, taking care of his own business. We're gonna honk really loudly and roll some coal at his house, as they say down that way, I believe.
Roll coal?
Yeah, so when the trucks and they blow out all the black smoke on people. Anyways, that's a thing. Yeah,
No.
that's a thing.
Yeah, they do that where I'm from.
Yeah, see, he knows. Tim knows what's up. We can talk about Tony's. Anyways, what
side
happened?
of the river does that come from?
We got to hurry up and we got to get to around like upper New York area.
Upper New York.
Upper New York.
That's
yeah,
where we're
you know
going?
why?
Okay.
All of this freezing stuff that happened attacked a very, very famous and fictional guitar shop. And there was a massive freeze over and the pipes burst.
Pipes burst.
Oh, no.
That's never good.
And the shop's been around forever and it was really wrecked. The shop was.
However,
the guitars weren't. It just so happens also that your great granny, and the only thing she gives you every single year for Christmas is one lottery ticket in your stocking.
wow.
You struck it rich, and you're sitting on a small fortune.
A small fortune?
A small fortune.
How small is the fortune?
Small enough, but big enough to make a pretty big purchase.
Grandma
it just
had
so
guitars?
happens. No, lottery tickets.
Pay attention.
Yeah, you can read the liner notes after. Anyways, so we're going to Roger.
I thought you were talking about an imaginary.
It is imaginary.
It's imaginary.
I'm dipping in and out.
Okay. All right. I'm working with you.
Hold my hand, Billy.
Okay. Take me to the river, Todd.
Okay. So we're going up there because
Because-
this magical fictional guitar store is auctioning everything that's in the store.
Everything must go.
Everything
we
must
lost
go.
our lease.
But here's the thing. Here's the catcher. There are some extremely rare and famous guitars in there from people who have played them. They've been
Celebrity owned.
celebrity owned, the whole 9 yards, right? And people, this is a destination shop.
Okay.
Now, the stipulation is by the owner because he doesn't want some shenanigans pulled.
No shenanigans.
The winner of this auction can keep all the guitars for themselves, never to sell or play them on stage. Or put them in a museum where everyone can enjoy them. So, would you rather?
Now, if they're in the museum, can you play them?
No. No. You might have to make a museum with the rest of your fortune.
This reminds me of Kurt Vonnegut's Bluebeard. And
Yeah,
his
I was thinking the
potato
same
barn.
thing. What? Anyways, okay. So, would you rather keep them all for yourself, in your new man cave that you're going to build with all the money you just got from Granny's lottery card? Or are you going to create something in which everybody gets to be part of it by looking at them? All right, Tony.
This kind of reminds me of that Twilight Zone episode where I think it was Burgess Meredith just wanted to be alone with his books, and then he wore glasses, and then he accidentally dropped on his glasses and stepped on them.
All he ever wanted was to be alone with his books, and he finally was, and then he couldn't read them.
Yeah, that's
Terrible.
what this reminds me of.
That's the best one that they ever made.
Yes,
The elusive dream.
Wow. Yes. All right.
So,
dreams have to be elusive by definition. Otherwise, they would just be realities.
Damn, dude, that was deep.
wow, past the
Waxing
peyote.
philosophical. Yeah.
So tell us,
Yeah. Hey,
which would you rather?
dreams have to be elusive, otherwise they're reality.
I love it. That's great. I don't think it would be all that fun. I mean, yeah, it would be cool to own all of those very cool guitars and things, but at the end of the day, if nobody else can see them, I mean, you got to be able to share in the experience.
Yes, but you can't profit from the museum because museums are not profit.
I don't care. That's the way I run my business.
Just checking. See, this store owner was very careful. It was like, you're going to get them, but you're not going to reap massive profits off of their.
But imagine, if you owned this collection and you had this nonprofit museum, you could go there every day and welcome the people in.
Heck yeah.
And you can make a little bit of scratch for yourself.
A little bit of
little donations. Put the little tip jar in front there.
Yeah. Get some nice shoes.
Long story short, I'm going for buy the collection.
Okay.
Open the museum and share. And one of the things in my museum is you will be allowed to play those.
You can't.
You can't.
It's a stipulation.
It's not a stipulation. You said the first one that you could not. No.
So no one's ever going to play these guitars.
No one's ever going to play them, unless it's only you ever.
That's so sad.
That is very sad.
It is sad.
I don't like this.
But that's why it's a would you rather.
I don't like this. Where's Jared?
All right,
jeez,
Billy, what are you doing?
Okay. Well, I kind of have this dilemma on my hands right now.
What?
Have you been to his basement?
I think we need to do a Cribs video at your place.
It's called an intervention.
Yeah.
No. But I am getting up there, and one of these days I'm not going to be around. I'm gonna just kick the bucket. So if I have them in my personal collection, then they would, go to my kids, and then they'd be like,
Who wants this
Dad's
stuff?
gone, but
Yeah,
what are we going to do with all this crap?
What about me and Tony?
So they have to, well, we can work that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
What are you going to do, Billy? Yes or no?
yeah, well, I'll just have them in my basement, play it myself.
Hey, that's totally. That's why it's a hard thing.
That's
So it's what
Because
I'm doing
you know
right
what?
now. And
the
it's not fair.
stipulation
It's not
doesn't
fair.
say you
It's
can't
not
pass
fair.
them on.
Oh, I can't even pass them on?
No, whatever. Once you pass it on,
Once I'm done.
once you're done,
Then-
it's up
yeah.
for grabs.
I see.
Yeah.
I still stick with my original one.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like that's the yeah.
Let's
I
see
like that.
here. Tim, how about yourself?
You like the rock and roll,
I think this is an easy one for me. I have to put them in the museum. I think even if no one's playing them, I think the multitude of people going to the museum looking at these guitars is gonna up the happiness of the world than just me playing them for however many minutes I can spare in a day.
That's a fair assessment.
And
eloquently said.
And I will open a concession stand that sells hot dogs with a blend of mustard,
That's my hot dog.
Dill relish.
Dill relish.
And crunched up
Yeah, you
potato
forgot
chips.
the celery salt.
Oh, the celery salt.
and crunched up potato chips.
And that's what we're going to sell.
So you
Yeah.
got the food truck outside the museum.
There's going to be some hungry people.
But you
like
know
that.
what? With my scenario, I
It's
have them
gonna be
in my
called
room. I
Tony's
can play
Bologna
them,
Sticks.
and I can tell all yous about all these guitars
That's
I'm
true.
playing.
That's true.
And I could share with the world in that regard.
That would keep you very busy for what's going on in your music world this week for a very long time.
Yeah. 7 years maybe.
Permanently.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, I absolutely have to go with the museum route too.
There you
like,
go.
I love the idea of going like, yes, I've achieved ownership nirvana, but you know, I love the idea of making connections and you know,
You just like to make people happy.
I do. Thanks, Tony. You're mocking me, but thank you. Anyways, well, so there you go. There's that one, everybody. And if you
right.
think that one's great or it stinks and you want to send us your own, then doggone it, do it.
Just do it.
Let's get some would you rathers up in here. All right.
Todd, you know we have a few people we have to thank.
You better believe
we
it.
love to thank
We
these
do.
people. These are our executive producers.
Yep.
Now you might be asking yourself, what is this executive producer?
What is this?
And how do I become one?
How?
I need to know. It's very simple. Go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs and check out a couple different levels in which you can participate. Become a sponsor, a patron of this very podcast.
That's right.
Is this where you get your name read on the thing?
Well, hold on a second, because each level comes
Page
with
16, Billy.
Yeah, you skipped ahead in the script.
Did I really?
Yeah, every day, every time.
Oh, man.
So each level comes with some very, very nice thank you gifts. And I mean, the higher you go, the greater the gifts. These are some great
and
stuff.
I got to butt in here really quick, Tony, because,
Yes.
you know, I talked about those giveaways.
Yeah.
I was recently asked by a guest that we may or may not have just had, like, hey, we want to do a giveaway. And I said, great. We're going to make sure that goes to one of our supporters.
Yeah.
Because, and the question was like, well, why don't you put it on Instagram or something like that? It's because, you know what? Those people, like, they should be rewarded. They're the ones who are actively
Yes.
listening. They're the ones who are helping us run this show.
Yes.
And that's so everything that we get like goes directly to the
Yes.
supporters via Patreon.
But, you know, in addition to all that great stuff, there's one more thing. Billy?
You get your
page
name
16.
read on the thing.
You get your name read on
Paragraph
the
2.
thing. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers. Big breath in, big breath out. Moon Guitars, Vader and Pedals, John Helverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Richard Kendall, Mark Garton, Matt Hart, James White, Justin Jones, Anthony Gemalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Doug Christ, Darren Gregory, Tom Brazen, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk, Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, Andrew DeHaan, and that bloke, Andrew Bell. Oh,
What? He's not an ogre. What is
he's not? He's
No.
a bloke.
No, he wears like a medium-sized shirt. Like,
Oh, well, maybe he's a very small ogre.
yeah. Anyways,
Oh, but not to interrupt, Todd.
yeah.
We also have another level of executive producers. We
Yes.
call them our Grand Poobahs.
Yes, that's correct.
And these fine people have a fez to wear upon their head whilst listening to the podcast.
And at the same time,
Yes. And so I
Is
was
this
like,
where you get the fez put on your head?
yeah, you get your fez that put on your head
yes,
on the thing.
among many other things.
Okay.
So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs: Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Igareda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wild Pickups, thank you, Zach, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robison, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S., David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Congregation Gear Demos, and I think there's one more. I think it's Tim Nowak.
Well, that's right.
I think
We're going to say it right.
You said it right.
Tim Nowak.
9-ish.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so very much. Truly, we're looking into a great year of a whole ton more of interviews. I know that they are getting a little bit longer. Trust me, because I have to edit them. But I don't care. It's like it's worth it. We're having some great conversations, and
We're getting the info.
I remember when we started out, I was worried. I was like, how are we going to do 45 minutes or something? I was like, we're doubling that. But then maybe it's too long. If it's too long, write us and tell us. All right.
No, especially Todd's parts are too long.
This is true. Tim, thank you so much for hanging out with us, for sharing your story about where you're at with your pedals and everything, and truly for supporting our show. We greatly appreciate you, not only for us but for the rest of our listeners who you're doing stuff. We thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you guys for having me on. That it's even better than being on the first time is on the second time.
But it feels like the first time.
Feels like the first time.
See, that's how that's supposed to work, everybody. If your friends aren't doing that, you need a new set of friends. Tony, where can people? Oh wait, Tim, tell everybody where they can find your stuff.
I've been
You
turning.
can find my stuff on Instagram at Bardic Audio Devices or on my website, bardicaudiodevices.com.
Perfect. Tony?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things that I do. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you need, what you're trying to do. I can help you. Pickguardian.com.
Perfect. Billy?
Billy Spitfire Unlimited on Facebook, Instagram. Look me up with the local band Mathematics.
Who else?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. He's got a lot of projects going on, but that's the moneymaker right there. That's the one that's putting the kish in his cash. Hey, everybody, you can send me an email, Todd@theguitarknobs.com. You can also DM me on Instagram @guitarknobs. We would really love to hear from you. Please send us your thoughts, your hopes, your dreams, your
Prayers.
and your, and things that you like. Hey, guys, would you stop doing this or something? Those are always entertaining too. And also, you can go listen to my band, the Valentinos, everywhere you can stream stuff. And we got I'm really excited for 23. We got a whole bunch of new tracks coming out.
Cool.
So, yeah. Anyways, hey, everybody, have a fantastic guitar week and subscribe! Tim?
Todd.
Tony, that's not entertainment, bro.
It's not entertainment, bro.
It's literally making my mouth water. Tim is one of our oldest surviving members of the...
That's what you get.
What?
Candles are fun. I like to light them. They smell good.
I'll tell you what, the best hot dog combo that comes to my mind right now. Oh, brilliant.
Wow.
Fancy.
Give a little bit. Give a little... No?
No.
Come on, that's the same. It's a da-dang, da-dang, All right, anyways. Mustard. I like doing a mix, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to start right now. It's going to be hard to... Hey. No, stop.
No.
You're jinxing me. Dill relish, I believe.
Oh.
Is that correct, Tim?
Yes, you do.
Perfect.
We thought we lost you.
No, he went to go make some Hot Pockets. I understand. Celery salt.
Who doesn't like it?
He's making a Chicago dog.
That was sitting. I think that's what was in my throat right there. Jimmy. Yeah. All right. Billy, you know what to do. I'm gonna tee you up. All right. Here we go.
Oh my God! Really? Oh, this is a lot of pressure.
And potato chip crumbles.
Brilliant.
And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/ facebook.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.